strange habits that actually indicate high intelligence. Many people spend their entire lives believing that certain behaviors are personality flaws. Staying up late, overthinking, forgetting simple things, or enjoying being alone are usually seen as negative traits. Society tends to value people who are organized, predictable, and extremely social. But science has been showing that some habits considered strange may actually be connected to high levels of intelligence. Researchers in psychology and neuroscience have discovered that highly intelligent people often display unusual behaviors. In many cases, these habits appear because their brains work in a more intense, creative, and analytical way than normal. What's most interesting is that many of these habits are criticized throughout life. A lot of people grow up hearing that they need to stop thinking too much, sleep earlier, be more organized, or stop daydreaming. But maybe these characteristics reveal the exact opposite of what others assume. In this video, you'll discover strange habits that may indicate an above-average mind, and there's a good chance you'll recognize several of them in yourself. Number 1. Overthinking before taking action. Some people simply can't make quick decisions. They analyze possibilities, imagine consequences, mentally review scenarios, and try to predict problems before they even happen. To outsiders, this may look like insecurity or hesitation, but in many cases it's simply the reflection of an extremely analytical mind. Intelligent people tend to notice far more details than most others. While some only see the obvious, they can detect patterns, risks, hidden meanings, and consequences that most people completely miss. That's why their brains take longer to reach conclusions. Not because they are slow, but because they are processing too much information at the same time. Neuroscience researchers explain that highly intelligent individuals often show greater activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, logical reasoning, and complex decision-making. This causes them to think deeply before acting. They rarely do things impulsively. The downside is that this habit can create mental exhaustion. Their minds almost never fully shut down. Even during simple moments, the brain keeps analyzing situations, remembering events, and imagining future possibilities. But there is also a huge advantage to this. People who think deeply often avoid reckless decisions and notice problems before anyone else does. While others act without reflection, they prefer to fully understand the situation before making a move. Number 2. Staying awake very late. Some people feel like their minds only truly wake up at night. When everything becomes quiet, their thoughts seem clearer and creativity increases dramatically. While most people start getting sleepy early, more analytical individuals often reach their best mental state during late-night hours. Research conducted by the London School of Economics suggests that people with higher IQs are more likely to develop nocturnal habits. One explanation is that nighttime offers something extremely rare today: complete silence. Without notifications, noise, or constant interruptions, the brain can dive into deeper thought. Many creative ideas are born in this quiet environment. Highly intelligent people often report that they think more clearly at night. It feels as if the brain finally has space to function without distractions. In addition, people with very active minds often struggle to switch off. Even when physically tired, they continue thinking about ideas, problems, memories, or future plans. Many historical geniuses were known for their nighttime routines. Winston Churchill worked until very late hours. Marcel Proust spent much of the night writing. Nikola Tesla practically turned the night into his main creative period. Of course, lack of sleep is not healthy. Rest remains essential for proper brain function, but having a mind that becomes more active at night is extremely common among creative and intelligent people. Number 3. Forgetting small everyday things. Do you forget where you left your keys, lose your phone inside your own house, or walk into a room without remembering why? Many people think this is simply distraction. However, in many cases, this behavior is connected to the way the brain prioritizes information. Intelligent people often spend so much mental energy processing complex thoughts that they pay less attention to trivial details. The brain works like a filter. Important information receives priority while small everyday tasks are pushed aside. That's why someone may completely forget where they placed the remote control, but perfectly remember a conversation from years ago, or a complex subject they read only once. Researchers from the University of Toronto explain that forgetting certain information may actually be a sign of brain efficiency. The brain removes less useful data to make room for more relevant information. In addition, highly reflective people often live deeply inside their own thoughts. While their bodies are present in the environment, their minds are analyzing ideas, memories, or possibilities. That's why they sometimes appear distracted. But the truth is that their brains are simply too busy working internally. Number 4. Being interested in many different subjects. Highly intelligent people rarely stay focused on just one interest for very long. Today they may be researching astronomy. Tomorrow they are studying philosophy, psychology, technology, music, history, or any other topic that sparks curiosity. To many people, this looks like a lack of focus. But in reality, this behavior often reveals an extremely curious mind. Intelligent individuals constantly crave new knowledge. Their brains seek mental stimulation all the time. There's even a term for this profile: polymath. These are people who develop knowledge and interest in multiple fields simultaneously. Leonardo da Vinci is perhaps the most famous example. He studied painting, engineering, anatomy, mathematics, architecture, and many other areas all at once. Psychology researchers explain that intelligent people usually score high in openness to experience, a personality trait linked to intellectual curiosity and creativity. These individuals enjoy exploring new ideas, questioning concepts, and discovering different ways of understanding the world. And often, it's exactly this combination of different interests that leads to the most creative ideas. The more references someone has, the greater their ability to make unique connections between seemingly unrelated subjects. Number 5. Talking to yourself. Many people do this secretly because they are afraid of seeming strange. But talking to yourself can actually be a strong sign of intelligence and intense mental activity. This habit helps the brain organize thoughts, structure ideas, and improve focus. When someone speaks to themselves, abstract thoughts become more concrete. This makes reasoning clearer and helps organize confusing ideas. Researchers from the University of Wisconsin found that verbalizing thoughts can improve memory and increase concentration during complex tasks. In addition, intelligent people often have an extremely active inner dialogue. They constantly analyze situations mentally. Sometimes their thoughts become so intense that they unconsciously say them out loud. Great geniuses throughout history had this habit. Albert Einstein frequently repeated phrases out loud while reflecting on theories. Nikola Tesla was also known for talking to himself during moments of deep concentration. This habit does not necessarily indicate instability. In many cases, it's simply the brain trying to organize a massive flow of ideas. And the more active the mind is, the more likely this behavior becomes. Number 6. Living in a messy environment. The famous mess may actually hide an extremely creative mind. Intelligent people often become so focused on ideas, projects, and thoughts that physical organization becomes secondary. While some people spend energy trying to keep everything perfectly organized, others prefer to focus their mental energy on creating, imagining, and solving problems. Research published in Psychological Science showed that messy environments can stimulate creative thinking and increase the ability to find original solutions. This happens because creative brains usually do not follow rigid patterns all the time. The mind becomes so busy making internal connections that external details lose importance. Albert Einstein was known for working in extremely messy environments. His office often looked completely chaotic. There's even a famous quote attributed to him: If a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, then what does an empty desk mean? Of course, organization is still important, but a certain level of disorder may simply reflect a creative brain working non-stop. Number 7. Staring into space. Have you ever caught yourself staring at the ceiling or into the distance while seeming disconnected from everything around you? Many people do this constantly, and although it looks like distraction, the brain may actually be working intensely during those moments. When someone enters this state of daydreaming, the mind begins reorganizing thoughts, reviewing memories, and creating connections between different ideas. Neuroscience calls this the default mode network, a brain state activated when we appear to be doing nothing. But behind the scenes, the brain remains highly active. In fact, many powerful insights happen during these silent moments. Archimedes' famous Eureka moment did not happen while solving equations at a desk. The idea came during a bath. Highly intelligent people often spend a lot of time inside their own minds. They reflect on situations, imagine future scenarios, and try to understand patterns invisible to others. That's why they sometimes seem distant from the world around them. But in reality, they are deeply immersed in thought. Want to elevate your wisdom and make more conscious decisions? Discover The Power of Silence according to Solomon, a book that will help you protect yourself from negative energies, strengthen your mind, and begin a journey of self-discovery. The link is in the description. Number 8. Enjoying time alone. This habit is extremely common among highly intelligent people. Although they can socialize well, many of them feel the need to spend long periods alone. This happens because highly active minds often become exhausted by too much external stimulation. Noise, superficial conversations, and crowded environments can quickly create mental fatigue. That's why solitude works as a way to recover emotional energy and organize thoughts. Researchers from the University of Singapore found that more intelligent individuals often feel less need for constant social interaction. This does not mean arrogance or coldness. In many cases, it simply means these people find pleasure in thinking, learning, and reflecting on their own. While some individuals need to be surrounded by others all the time, intelligent people often feel comfortable in their own company. And it's precisely in those moments of silence that many deep ideas emerge. Not all intelligence appears in obvious ways. Very often it shows itself through habits that most people consider strange. Overthinking, staying up late, forgetting small things, enjoying solitude, or getting lost in thought may all be signs of an extremely active and creative mind. Intelligent people often see the world differently. That's why their behaviors are not always understood by others. Many habits you've been criticized for may not actually be flaws. They may simply be natural traits of a curious, analytical, and extraordinary mind. Now tell me, which of these habits describes you the most?